What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the Uncanny X-Men, and we pick up with Uncanny X-Men number 177, 178, and 179. And the reason why, because these three issues go perfectly together, where the X-Men must fight against the Brotherhood of evil mutants. But on top of that, they must also fight against the Morlocks as well. And so now they have to fight against two different organizations for the first time. And the question is, can the X-Men handle all of these different problems? But either way, I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. And if you do, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. To begin today's video, we actually pick up with Uncanny X-Men number 177, where we actually pick up with Mystique herself. Now, of course, at this point in Marvel Comics, Mystique was a bad guy. On top of that, she was the leader of the Brotherhood of evil mutants. But either way, we actually pick up with Mystique at the circus being attacked by the X-Men. Now, we should know right off the bat that this moment right here is not really happening. What I mean is that as soon as the X-Men appear, you have Mystique being able to take out every single one of them by herself. I don't mean just knocking them out. I really mean that she kills them off one by one. Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, Storm, they're all gone just like that. Even Cyclops too. But here comes the big problem though. When it comes to Rogue, she does kill Rogue off, but it hurts her so much because let's not forget, at this point in Marvel Comics, Rogue just turned good. She just joined the X-Men. Rogue was actually working with Mystique, and to Rogue, Mystique is kind of like a mother to her. And for Mystique, Rogue is kind of like a daughter to her. So to kill off Rogue really bothered her. But that is the moment you actually have Nightcrawler appear. And the problem is Mystique was unable to actually kill off Nightcrawler. And the question is, why? Why was she unable to actually kill off Nightcrawler? And this is Chris Claremont right now planting the seeds in our minds to say, hey, Mystique could possibly be Nightcrawler's mother. But we come to find out that all of that was fake, because of course we do see Mystique being woken up by Destiny, her dear friend. Now we do see both ladies actually be confronted by Arcade. Now Arcade is a very interesting character, and we have not seen him in a long time, but when it comes to Arcade, he has no powers, but what he can do is make different kinds of escape rooms. Now, these escape rooms are not your usual fun activities. The thing is, if you are not unable to actually escape the escape room, you will die, because he has placed different kind of killing machines as a way to make sure you do die. And so we come to find out he basically made some kind of escape room for Mystique to train in, so that she'll be able to actually kill off the X-Men, because she has a new kind of mission. Now, once they had that conversation about how she did a great job in the escape room, well, that is the moment you have Mystique actually ask Arcade, can he do the same thing for the rest of her Brotherhood of evil mutants? So Pyro, Blob, Avalanche, to get them ready to fight against the X-Men. And of course, you do have Arcade say yes. Now, there is a page where we actually see Kitty Pryde talking to Stevie Hunter. Of course, Stevie Hunter is a teacher at Xavier's school for the New Mutants, but at the same time, she still is a dance instructor for Kitty Pryde. But in our previous videos, we come to find out Kitty Pryde is having a hard time with Storm's new look, because apparently Storm is now looking and acting different than she has in the past few videos. And for some unknown strange reason, it bothers Kitty Pryde a lot. And honestly, it's kind of annoying. But we actually do jump into space and we pick up on the spaceship of the Starjammers. Of course, the Starjammers are a bunch of pirates out there in space who are being led by Corsair, the father of Cyclops and Havoc. But right now we pick up with Illyandra and Charles Xavier. And the reason why, because right now you have these two characters saying goodbye to one another. Because Illyandra must go back out to space and get her empire back from her evil sister, Deathbird. We actually saw that in one of our earlier videos when it came to the Brood saga. But either way, you do have Charles Xavier say goodbye to the one woman he actually loves. Now, when it comes to Corsair, the father of Cyclops and Havoc, in an earlier video, Corsair had actually asked Cyclops and Havoc to come with him and the Starjammers as they travel across space. But of course, by this point, Scott Summers just got married to Madeline Pryor. And of course, he wants to stay on Earth with her. And for Havoc, he still has Polaris as his girlfriend. And so really, it's these two characters kind of like, we're not going, Dad. We're going to stay on Earth because we both got family now. We both got women in our lives to take care of. But we actually do jump over to Nightcrawler and Colossus and Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler's girlfriend Amanda, because right now they're on a double date. Now you do have Nightcrawler and Amanda go inside the building while Colossus and Kitty Pryde find somewhere to park the car at. But either way, you do have Nightcrawler begin to talk to Amanda about the idea that Mystique could possibly be his mother. Now right now he has no idea if that is true or not, but he is he is hardcore thinking that Mystique could be his mother. On top of that, the last time he fought against Mystique kind of did tell him to talk to his adoptive mother. And so right now you have Nightcrawler thinking about asking his adoptive mother about who his parents were. And of course, his adoptive mother is actually Amanda's mother. Now, once Kitty Pryde and Colossus were able to actually find a parking spot, well, that is the moment they see that something is wrong in a building nearby. And so you do have Colossus decide to use his ability to go up into the building to make sure that everyone is okay, that no innocent person was hurt. Except when he gets inside the building, well, that is the moment he is confronted by Blob. And with Blob here, that tells Colossus that the Brotherhood of evil mutants must be here. They must be after him, Kitty, and Nightcrawler. But you do have Colossus decide to try to fight against Blob. But of course, he does lose that fight and Blob sends Colossus flying out the window. Now with that happening, Colossus is then catched by a fiery bird. Now this fiery bird was actually made by Pyro. Now I do want to mention, when it comes to Pyro, Pyro does not have the ability to actually make fire, but he can control fire. And so as long as fire is nearby him, he can control those flames to do anything he wants them to do. And so his suit makes some flames so that he can control those flames in his own way. And so with that being said, you have Pyro make a fiery bird as a way to warm up Colossus, to heat him up. Because the big question was, how much heat can Colossus actually take? No one truly knew. But either way, now Colossus is very hot. But when he gets back down to the ground level, well, that is when we come to see the last member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is Avalanche. And Avalanche has the ability to control seismic waves. But of course, there are trucks that were nearby Colossus. And when these trucks fall on top of Colossus, here comes the big problem. Because on those trucks were some kind of component. And when those components actually touch something that is very hot, it freezes that item, or actually turns them to stone. And so right when the components fall on top of Colossus, who was very hot, he's now turned into a stone figure. And so we're left to believe that possibility Colossus had just died. Now, of course, you do have Kitty Pryde begin to freak out because the man she loves was just turned into stone. And so with that happening, she's wondering what in the world can she do to actually help him. And so that is the moment you have Kitty Pryde realize she needs to contact Charles Xavier, because when it comes to Charles Xavier, he made sure to build some kind of mind connection between him and all of his students. And so, of course, she does contact him and tell him what in the world is going on. Now, you do have Charles Xavier think it'd be a good idea to actually have Rogue stay behind. And the reason why is because Rogue just joined the X-Men. On top of that, Rogue's old team is the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. This could cause problems down the road. And so Rogue is going to stay behind. But he'll send Storm and Wolverine instead. But right when he sends Storm and Wolverine out, well, that is when his mind is attacked once again. And the reason why I say once again is because in our last few videos, both in the X-Men and the New Mutants, somebody has been attacking the mind of Charles Xavier, and we have no idea who that person is. But of course, he was able to withstand this attack this time. Now, you do actually have Kitty Pryde remember something about Reed Richards, that he possibly has a device that he had made recently that could actually help Colossus turn back to normal. And so you do have Kitty Pryde decide to run away, get into a taxi, and head over to the Baxter building to hopefully borrow a device from the Fantastic Four to save Colossus' life. But then we get another page to tell us something else is going on, where we actually pick up with the Morlocks. Now remember, the Morlocks are a group of mutants who basically live in the sewers of New York. The reason why, because when their mutant abilities activated, of course, their appearance had changed. And so they were afraid that humans could attack them because they look different. And so you have the Morlocks stay in the sewers as a way to hide from the human race. Now, here's the thing though, we do pick up with the leader of the Morlocks, Callisto, and her two friends, Sunder and Mask. Now, Mask has the ability to actually change the face of people. And so right now we see them finding a dead body of someone. And we do see Mask begin to use her ability as a way to change the facial appearance of this person who's dead. Now, the next few pages were given to us to show us the X-Men fighting against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And honestly, there are a lot of pages, but of course, this is something we must see because we have not seen the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants for a good period of time. But either way, it does show that the X-Men have learned from their past mistakes. The reason why I say that is because the last time the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants attacked, the X-Men did win, but of course it was kind of like the X-Men barely won. And so right now we see the X-Men team actually being able to win this battle with more ease than last time. Because the X-Men, even though they're down like 2 or 3 members, they still are able to actually hold their own against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. But then we have to jump back over to Kitty Pryde, because remember, Kitty Pryde went to the Baxter building to hopefully find a device that Reed Richards made that could possibly help out Colossus. Now when she gets there, of course, the Fantastic Four are not there. But either way, she is able to actually find a device and hoping she can take it with her to go save Colossus. Now she does go to the rooftop because she's afraid to go out the front door because it could cause more troubles for her down the road. But that is the moment when she gets on the rooftop and goes on the very edge of that rooftop, something actually spooks her to the point where she falls off the rooftop and possibly to her death. Now, we actually do jump back over to the X-Men fighting against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Now, of course, the X-Men were able to actually defeat the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but that is the moment you have Blob actually tell Wolverine and the rest of the X-Men that they were only here as a way to distract the X-Men, to keep them busy. And the reason why, because there is still one member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants we did not see in this fight, and that is Mystique. And the question is right now, where in the world did Mystique go to? Now, we actually do jump back over to the school of Charles Xavier. We do see that Xavier is right now attacked by what it seems like Rogue. Now, don't worry, it is not actually Rogue. It is someone else pretending to be Rogue, and of course, it is Mystique. Now, you do have Rogue actually walk in to see her adoptive mother about to kill off Charles Xavier. Now, this is the moment we come to find out why Mystique is actually attacking Charles Xavier for. And the reason why is because when it comes to Charles Xavier, Mystique believes that Charles must have used his mind abilities as a way to play mind games with Rogue, to make Rogue leave the Brotherhood to actually join the X-Men. Now, of course, that is the moment you have Rogue say, no, you are technically wrong. You are so wrong, it's not even funny anymore. The reason why I left the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is because I believe Charles Xavier could actually help me control my powers. Because when it comes to Rogue, she is unable to actually touch anybody. If her skin makes skin-to-skin contact with someone else, she absorbs their powers, their memories, and their energy. And of course, for Rogue, that is so hard to live with day in and day out. And so right now you have Rogue say, no, Mystique, I did not leave you because Charles Xavier did some kind of mind game on me. Instead, I left you to come to him to hopefully find some answers on a way to help me out, to help me control my powers. And so that is why I left you. And so if you love me like a daughter, then you will let this man actually help me out instead of trying to stop him and possibly kill him. And of course, that is the moment you do have Mystique agree to let her stay with Charles Xavier. Now, we actually do see Mystique appear right in front of the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And the reason why is because you do have Mystique actually tell the X-Men to let go of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants as a way to do a fair trade. Her team for Charles Xavier. Now, of course, you do have Wolverine say, how in the world can they actually trust Mystique? How do we know that she is not lying? We let her team go and she could possibly kill off Charles Xavier. Well, that is the moment you actually have Destiny appear and tell the X-Men they have more concerns than wondering if Mystique is telling the truth. And because, remember, earlier Kitty Pryde fell off the rooftop and she crash landed on the ground. And so we do see her right now bleeding out and possibly about to die. Now we do jump over to Uncanny X-Men number 179, and when we do, we actually pick up with the Morlocks in the sewers once again, except they also had grabbed Kitty Pryde from that dying spot that she was in earlier. On top of that, they put her in a wedding dress, which makes things very weird, but you will soon understand why they did that very soon. Now, we actually do jump over to the X-Men, and the reason why is because they were actually called to a morgue because they got a call that the morgue found the dead body of Kitty Pryde. And so when the X-Men arrive, they do see a dead body on the table, and it does look like Kitty Pryde. Except the problem is you have Wolverine tell Storm and Rogue, that is not Kitty Pryde. She looks like Kitty Pryde, but she does not smell like Kitty Pryde, because when it comes to Wolverine in his scent, he is able to know who is who, and he says, no, that is not Kitty Pryde. That is someone else who looks like Kitty Pryde, and we were supposed to believe it was her, but of course it's not. And the question is right now, where is Kitty Pryde? Who has her? And we know who. It's the Morlocks. The question is, why in the world do the Morlocks have her? But then we jump over to Nightcrawler, Charles Xavier, and Amanda, where right now you have Nightcrawler being the team doctor and trying to find a way to actually help out Colossus. But that is the moment you have Storm actually contact Charles Xavier to tell him that she believes that she knows who had possibly kidnapped Kitty Pryde. But that is the moment where someone once again attacks the mind of Charles Xavier. We have no idea who is attacking his mind, but of course, this time the attack was so powerful that it had knocked out Charles Xavier. And so now Nightcrawler must take care of both Colossus and Charles Xavier. Now, we actually do learn why the Morlocks have put Kitty Pryde in a wedding dress. And the reason why is because the last time the X-Men fought against the Morlocks, Kitty Pryde made a deal with Caliban, another member of the Morlocks, and she told him that if he helps her and the X-Men fight against Callisto and the Morlocks, she'll stay down there with him in the sewers and they could be together forever. Of course, once that battle was done, Kitty Pryde left. And so of course she broke that promise. And so you have Callisto saying, the reason why we kidnapped you is because you told our friend here that you'll stay with him forever, but you left. And so we're here to make sure you own up to your words. Now for Kitty Pryde, she is freaking out because she remembers that Colossus needs help and she believes she is the only person who can help Colossus. And so she does try to leave and run away. Now, for Kitty Pryde, she does not get too far like she thought she would. Matter of fact, she only gets like a few feet down the tunnels and then she falls down on the ground, but that is the moment where she is confronted by a character known as Leech. Now, Leech has the ability to actually cancel out other people's powers, and so of course, he did cancel out Kitty Pryde's power. But either way, you do have him take her back to Callisto and the rest of the Morlocks, where you have Callisto say once again she must own up to her words. She did promise Caliban that she'll stay down there with the Morlocks forever, and of course she must own up to her word. Now, you do have Kitty Pryde beg Callisto that once Kitty Pryde does marry Caliban, Callisto must go back up to the surface and hopefully help Colossus get better. And you have Callisto say, fine, I'll do that only because you're becoming one of us and we look after our own people. Now, of course, right when the wedding is about to happen, well, that is the moment you have the X-Men appear. Well, really just Rogue, Wolverine, and Storm. Nightcrawler is still trying to help out Colossus. But either way, though, you still have these three characters right now begin to fight against the Morlocks as a way to save Kitty Pryde. Now, while the X-Men are fighting against Callisto and the Morlocks, well, that is the moment you actually have Kitty Pryde tell the X-Men to stop. And you do have her being able to actually stop Wolverine from killing someone. And she says, listen, I made a promise to stay down here with Caliban, and I broke that promise. On top of that, Colossus needs my help, our help, and the Morlocks might have a way to actually help him. And so to help him, I must go through what I did, which was promising Caliban I'll stay down here in the sewers with the Morlocks in him forever. And if I do that, Colossus could most likely be able to get healed. Now, we do see some time has passed by where we actually see Rogue right now using her mutant ability to actually absorb Colossus' powers, but also his stone state he was in, as a way to free Colossus. Now, Colossus does have a lot of injuries from his battle against Blob, Avalanche, and also Pyro. But of course, that is the moment the Morlocks healer appears and he was able to actually heal up Colossus. Now, when it comes to Rogue, we have no idea how in the world she healed from this point right here, because she's turned into a stone like Colossus was earlier. But of course, no one really cares. Like, Chris Claremont just moves on. Now, to wrap up this book, we actually pick up with Kitty Pryde going back down in the sewers to get married to Caliban. Now, of course, that is the moment you have Caliban call off the wedding. And the reason why is because he understands what she feels like right now. For him, Kitty Pryde does not want to be down here. She wants to be on the surface world. Yes, she did make that promise. Yes, she should own up to her promise. But for Caliban, he's kind of like, I feel bad for her. I'm about to make her change her whole entire life to be down here with me because of some deal I made with her. And that is not fair. And so you have Caliban say he understands that she'll never truly love him like that, but also she deserves to be where she wants to be, which is the surface world. And you have Caliban leave and Kitty Pryde being able to go back to the X-Men. But that is the moment where we actually end today's comic book video. So please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video.